I think obviously across the higher ed space, you have falling enrollments. Students are being stuck with more and more student debt and are looking for alternative pathways to education, especially this new emergence of non-traditional students. You have older students and parents and folks with full-time jobs. When I first was becoming more familiar with the boot camp space, because my background was in helping students achieve more quality, better facilitated online programming, one of the things that I did was to sit in on some of their classrooms and coursework, and I got to sit on one of their graduations as well. And what really struck me is that the feel of it, the intimacy of it, the relationship building and networking that you would typically only see in an on-ground building campus, you felt the same spirit with their online program. It was so interactive, it was live, students were on camera, we utilized Zoom as our modality, and just this great sense of maybe you can't punch the guy next to you, but it feels real close. Everyone was, weeping and crying and emotional at graduation. And then to see them continue on and have these more kind of traditional reunions and this very strong, active alumni network that facilitates discussions and job offers and additional training through different social media platforms. It's just incredible. And it's finally a program that is doing online correctly, the way that it should be. So typically there are two main measures to use when calculating admissions staff workload. So the first thing to take a look at is number of applications per staff member. And the way that you could go about calculating that, of course, you work backwards from your main enrollment number. So instead of using this formulaic X plus Y equals Z, you're going to have to establish a baseline first and then work that backwards. So in terms of number of applications per staff member, how many points of touch does it take? How many hours of time? How many different ways of outreach to get an application to convert to somebody that is accepted and wants to attend the school? So that's number one. Number two is number of new students per staff member. Because once you've got a student that is not only qualified, but interested, they've filled out the application, they've been admitted to the school, they still have to start school. And there could be a large drop-off. A lot of admissions staff I've seen in the past make the mistake of, okay, they've signed the enrollment paperwork, we have a deposit or what have you, we're good. We will just let academics take over in onboarding. And it really needs to be a partnership. The admissions advisor, the enrollment officer, whatever you want to call them, is the one that established the rapport and the relationship. And ultimately, that student has already done their research before even putting in an application. What makes a student make a decision between the 5 schools that they've researched and that they're interested in is ultimately going to be you. It's going to be the person in charge of the enrollment process. So the better rapport you can build, what time constraints does that look like? How much invested time do you need? All factors into number of new students per staff member. Another thing that's really going to be important here is looking at retention. It shouldn't just be that the enrollment officer gets them to the starting gate and you have a handoff and a handshake. The enrollment officer really needs to have some involvement throughout the life cycle of that student. So yeah, the first thing that you need to do is to build rapport, finding that common ground. If you're talking on the phone or in front of someone, an easy way to do that is to mirror voice tone, mirror their rate of speech, mirror their physicality. Behavioral flexibility is the term. So if you're in the middle of an interview and you have a prospect that's leaned back in their chair, then that's the body posture that you want to attain as well. People like themselves. You have to implement things like really in-depth role-playing that's not scripted. Get them away from that. When they are not able to be with someone face-to-face, they're at their desk, they're smiling and dialing, hang up a mirror. Make sure that they are looking at themselves in the mirror. What your face and your posture and your mouth position looks like makes a huge difference in what your voice carries across and your tonality and your enthusiasm. The mirror helps remind people of that. That's a nice thing. Of course, observations. They need to be able to see not just you, but lots of different advisors, because they're going to be able to find a style that they relate to and then be able to adapt and bring their own in there. And then This is something I don't see a lot, but has been really a success for me, is recording. If they're on the phone, record them and then sit down with them and have them evaluate themselves. Then you talk about what were the positive things, what you did right. Lots and lots of reinforcement. And if there are opportunities, that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. That means there's something there that's trainable and teachable. If they are presenting, if they're going to be in person, then you get out your cell phone and you videotape, you record. People do wacky things they're unaware of when they are public speaking. And I've seen all kinds of interesting mannerisms, but until someone actually sees themselves, you're not going to be able to make any adjustments.
Thank you for tuning into the Education Marketing Insider by Grow Enrollments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to stay updated. Stay tuned.